broadcasting and streaming live all across America. This is HomeTalkUSA with Michael King, where we will discuss topics pertaining to your home with industry-leading experts. Michael King is a licensed general contractor with more than 30 years of experience in home improvements and the author of Contracting with the King. Join us this hour for our segment Invent America with your co-host, the Inventor Lady Rita Crompton. Discover what's next in the home improvement industry and explore new products and innovations. Or if you have that next great big idea, learn what it takes to bring your invention to the world as Michael King and Rita Crompton talk to America's inventors and innovators. Remember, the America of tomorrow is being invented today. We invite you to visit us at HomeTalkUSA.com, one of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, we proudly present Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country, Home Talk USA, with your host, the Cajun contractor, Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Hello, America, and welcome to Invent America. Why? Because Americans invent. Our economy has been based on people taking new products to market, and we are excited to be able to bring to you new inventors, inventors who have, been challenged with some of the issues and conquered the issues, and that's why their product is in the marketplace, and some who've gone on to the next generation. And we are filling in with Wayne Rasanen. He is our inventor today, covering for our father of Home Talk USA, who had to run out and head to the airport, maybe joining us via phone as we go through this first set of questions. But today we're talking about the issue of pricing. You know, as consumers, when you go and you look at a price and you see two products on a shelf and you go, oh, this one is cheaper. Why? Well, you may not realize, but pricing is a big tug of war when it comes to that first generation, that first run of the product. And the reason is because you consumers are God in what you're going to pay for something. So you are going to set that price. But a store, they look at the ballpark idea of, all right, this type of product should retail for $10. And so we and the inventor know that they've got to be able to make it, box it, and ship it for $2. There is always a multiple of 5 with consumer products. And, all right, there might be some swing on that with home health care, sometimes the electronics and software. But for the most part, anything that you're going to find in a big box store is based on the multiple of 5. And that can be really challenging for the inventor on their first production run. So we are going to talk to our inventors today about how they dealt with this. Now, Wayne has got a product in the marketplace already. Our next inventor, William Holley, he just got his first order in. And I know that he's kind of played tug of war with what it should go for and then the reality check of what his first run is costing him. So, Wayne, thanks so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it.
Rita, it's always a pleasure to be with you. Thanks for inviting me.
So tell our audience what it is that you invented.
I invented a one-handed Bluetooth keyboard. It basically replaces the entire QWERTY keyboard with a little tiny thing. It's got 10 buttons on it, and with combinations of holding one button and pressing another, you've got the entire keyboard. It does every letter, function, number, and symbol of a regular keyboard, including a couple of extras that we added to control apps on iOS and Android. So it's a complete keyboard. It's called chording because you're holding more than one key at a time, like a musical chord. On this particular case, no more than 4 keys at any one time. You hold 5 keys and it voids the keystroke. So if you start pressing the wrong key, you can always avoid making that mistake. And it's really easy to do.
Well, that is excellent. So tell everybody your website. So if they're curious, they can go and actually see then video of you using it.
Okay. Well, there's only 10 keys. There's 2 on top and 8 on the front. So we named it DecaTxt. So DECA and then text, just TXT. We didn't put the extra E in it.
Okay.
So it's DecaTxt.
Okay. Well, we will make sure that that is on our website and along with the logo, so it's real easy to find, and that it will link directly to Wayne's website. So anybody out there that wants to be able to do all of this, writing and everything electronically, and you want to be able to use one hand, yay. Thank you so much, Wayne, for, getting it out there. So when you were in the beginning, all right, let's talk about in the beginning when you came up with the idea, you went through all the issues of getting the patent filed, and now it comes down to price points. So you look at things in the market and you say, okay, there's nothing exactly like it. Good. That's why you're able to file a patent. But when you look at things that are kind of in the sandbox and you say, all right, my price point needs to be here. How did you get from your first manufacturing run to the appropriate price point?
Well, unfortunately, I'm nowhere close to the multiples of 5 that all inventors would love to get. It is a little bit of a pricier item, so I can get away with that a little bit. But other one-handed keyboards or other cord keyboards typically sell for at least $150, usually $200. Some of them are $300 or more. There's one that's almost $600.
Wow.
So there is a kind of a broad range for that. I've got this one priced at $155, but I do have a discount code that I figured, well, I'm going to be on the radio. I might as well. We're going to talk price, so I've got $25 off if you use the code word Rita, RITA. So if you're a fan of the Inventor Lady, you can save $25 and get something that's completely unique and different from anything else in the world. It's really quite an item, and it works with your smart TV, your Android phone, your tablet, game consoles, everything. So I
think that's the good connection that we need to make is, all right, so you've got this texting gadget in your hand. Where can you use it? So when we're looking at then the options of different things, and we're going to do some video and make sure that we get that streaming then along with the radio. That way, then folks will be able to see exactly how to use it. But I think the important thing right here is that, you've got something that is held in one hand, and then you are able to connect it to your laptop, your TV, your phone, anything where you would be able to punch in letters and numbers. This will connect to it.
You can control your phone. You don't even have to pick it up. You can put in your passcode, open up your phone, go to your apps, go to your photos, take a picture. So it's a great little remote camera shutter. You can do all kinds of great stuff with it. And so it's very versatile. And I've just recently had a sale on it, sold a bunch of them. I also did a discount. And surprisingly, the majority came from people, repeat buys that had bought a previous version of it. We talked about the first run, and I think the first run was $125. So
okay.
But this has got more bells and whistles and everything else, because you can't just rest on your laurels. You have to constantly improve.
That's right. And I think that's the topic next week that we're looking at, that we go back and forth between, product development and the intellectual property and how does that weigh? So folks, if you're, listening to this and you want to understand how that intellectual property works, tune in next week because we're going to be talking about that. And one of the things that we learned a long time ago is that the secret in life is to not be too greedy. And certainly it comes to inventing, but for some inventors, if you can just break even on that first run. And the one thing that you've got going for you is you're not trying, when you're selling yourself, either online or e-commerce, that multiple of 5 is not as hard as if you were selling in the big box stores. So it does give you some flexibility. You're selling basically off your website?
Right. Yeah. And I'm also bringing it to venues and stuff like that. I've seen a lot of reaction from people with assistive technology, people that are blind or limited with one hand, or they don't have broad motor skills, but they have some fine motor skills. So it really helps out with that.
How did you deal with the manufacturing of it?
I did the first couple of rounds with a local manufacturer, and I tried to tried to go ahead and save a little bit of money and go to China, but it wound up not being a big savings. And I didn't go the whole route, only some of the component parts. And so, yeah, it's unfortunately a pricier proposition, but we're trying to do the best that we can and for the lowest price we can.
All righty. Stick with us, everybody, because we're going to come right back with Wayne. I've got some more questions for him, and you don't know what they are because the first set of questions you've already answered. So I'm going to surprise you. And we are going to go out. We're going to pay some bills, and we will be right back with Wayne Rasanen out of Florida, right?
Tampa Bay.
All right. Stick with us, everybody. We will be right back. Everybody, thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America. And our segment is being brought to you by Trim a Slab. If you need to replace rotting or missing wood, often found in driveways, sidewalks, decks, and a lot of other places in your house, especially if you live in the forest like I do, it installs incredibly fast. It looks great, and it can't be removed. So Trim a Slab. Trim a Slab is where you want to go, trimaslab.com. And if you're an inventor out there and you've got questions, please check us out. You can find Rita at Inventor Lady. You can go to Invent America and be able to log right into us and ask a question. My phone number is everywhere. They will etch it on the side of my casket because I'm taking it with me. So give me a call because I do answer my phone. We are with Wayne Rasanen. He is the inventor of a cool device if you want to be able to hold your entire keyboard in one hand and use it. So Wayne, thanks so much for being with us. The thing that I find really cool about your product is that yes, you can hold the entire keyboard, alphabet and numbers in one hand, but you can connect it to your phone, your TV, your laptop, anywhere you're going.
Anything
Probably shouldn't be use it in the car, but you could.
Yeah, I try to avoid mentioning that, but the fact that you can do it with one hand and you don't have to look does make it a little bit safer. Cognitively, people don't like the fact that anybody's thinking of anything other than driving. So we can't really promote it like that, but it potentially would be considerably safer.
I do get that. And it's funny because that's one of the challenges that we know we shouldn't do, but it talks about how cool yours is.
Well, I did put one on I did build it on the steering wheel at one point and brought it to the highway patrol and showed it to them and said, here's a way that your officers could access all the keystrokes on their laptop and never have to take their hands off the steering wheel. Now I am working on a new version that's also on the steering wheel, but that's another story. That's not the DecaTxt.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll have you on when you're ready to tell that story. Right. In the meantime, as we get inventors who go out for pricing, and I've had a couple of them recently that have kind of gone back and forth, and you brought it up just as we were getting ready to take our break, is that, I'll get inventors that will look at having some components manufactured in China and then shipped to the U.S. And it's really all about then the pricing. We had one gentleman, he had an electronics part, and he figured it's got to be cheaper in China, right? Well, it was cheaper, but the product was awful when it got here. So whatever he made up in the reduced pricing bit him on the malfunctioning. And so he ended up bringing everything back to the U.S., has it manufactured now in Southern California, and his failure rate is much lower, even though his production costs are a little bit higher. And he's happier.
Well, we did get tests done before we approved anything. So the components came by, not a problem. But unfortunately, when they threw in the tariffs and other things, then suddenly the savings wasn't there.
Yeah, that exactly is true. I know that on one of Greg's shows, he talked about that. that, the tariffs are, by the time the pricing gets added to it, now it's no longer competitive in the market. So you stay here in the States. And I know that Wendy Short, she's got Float No More product. And she was looking because the pricing was so outrageous, but she would have still had to have the innards that were so heavy that made the pricing outrageous shipped from China to be made in the USA. So there's all different types of nuances that an inventor, when they say, oh, I think I'll file a patent and take this product to market, not really paying attention to all of those things that come down the road that impact then your ability to sell.
It's a lot harder than people think. There's a lot more to it. You wind up wearing a lot more hats than you've got a head for. So everything from getting the patent to marketing to doing the sales and everything else, building it. Suddenly you're a manufacturer and you never had a dream to do that, but it's all part of the game. So if you want to play, you gotta play a lot.
Yeah. Where are your products made now?
Like I said, just the component parts are built overseas, but then the molders are done locally here. The graphics are done locally. The programming is done through my team. So, China doesn't have the programming. And so a lot of it is still local and I do all the assembly. So it's a very unique product.
That's what I was going to ask you is like, all right, so you've got, different things coming in from different directions. You put it all together. And then your packaging, your package, all right, that is done locally there by you in Tampa?
Yeah, I get some packaging and, I do the graphics and put it all together. So, yeah, I put in a lot more time than most people would think. It's a very involved process.
It certainly is. So then you're doing all of your own fulfillment as well.
Yes, I was doing some on Amazon. We had some problems with Amazon and I just said, well, send them back and I'm just going to go ahead and take care of them here. One of the issues is Amazon always wants to have the lowest price. And, if you want to run a sale or if you want to do a promotion or something like that, well, then you have to do that on Amazon too. And it gets to be a bit of a headache. And so these only built 200 of them. And hand numbered them and everything else. So you're getting something directly from the inventor. It's pretty unique.
Well, that is excellent. I was going to say, so if you're making a lot of the parts, having them shipped in, putting it all together, doing all the packaging, doing all the fulfillment, when do you sleep?
I'll sleep when I'm dead.
I like that. I've resembled that remark sometimes. And so for our inventors who would like to be able to go out and get one of your products or see it, you've got DecaTxt.com. DecaTxt.com. Use the promo code Rita, and that'll get you $25 off. So makes it $130, a little bit cheaper. It's basically a lot cheaper than any of the other competitor one-handed keyboards out there. There's very few of those. So, well, that is excellent, Wayne. And I'm going to hold you to that discount when we do the video as well.
Through September 30th.
All right. We're good on that. And everyone, stick with us. We will be back with our next inventor. And we're going to run off and pay some bills. If you've got any questions out there, please check in. If you need a new service provider, we have got good vetted service providers who can help you and get you back on track. We also do the Inventors Roundtable where you can come and ask your questions and talk to wonderful inventors like Wayne. So stick with us, everybody. We will be right back. America, thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. We are grateful for every single one of you for tuning in to finding out about the new cool products that are out there. And we count on every single one of you to support America's inventors by looking for the products. A lot of times we list them online. Some of the times you can find them on different e-commerce sites. And the next product that we've got coming up is one of those. It's just getting out there, and we will let you know where to find it. But this segment is brought to you by Bond Products. It's for do-it-yourself carpet binding. There is only one Instabind, bondproducts.com. So if you've got trouble with your carpet out there, this is a place to go. And I know that all of these companies all of our sponsors are listed on the website. So if you missed a link, by all means, go to HomeTalkUSA and you will be able to find all of our sponsors listed. And right now we are talking about one of our inventors. He couldn't quite make it with us this afternoon, but we are fortunate that Noah McNeely was the one who helped him manufacture that first run. And it's a really cool product because you know what? It's a hammer. Now, I don't know about everybody else, but I've got at least a half a dozen hammers in my house. One's in the kitchen, at least two are in the garage, one's in the pump house, one is downstairs. You know, you always need a hammer. And oh yeah, by the way, they are different sizes as well. Well, Bill Holley invented a new hammer. It's called My Modern Hammer. It's got a new handle that allows you a better grip, a more ergonomic grip. And he just got his first run. And Noah is the gentleman, Product QuickStart, that helped get the manufacturing here. Now, I know it was a process to get him through and find the one that he liked. I know the first group, I think they were pink, right?
Yeah, they were pink, and we're looking at other colors in the future.
Yep. If it's a better hold for me, I don't know that I need pink. And besides, my husband will get it dirty, because sure as the world, I know he's going to grab it. But what is unique? I mean, since you were working on it, tell our listeners, what is unique about My Modern Hammer?
Yeah. So, well, one of the things that's unique is Bill. I loved working with Bill. He's a great guy. He's got great ideas and he really knows what he was trying to do. But in this particular case, if you think about, now, if you're a carpenter using a hammer all day long, you got one of those big, massive hammers. This is not who this is for necessarily. This is for you and me that are hammering stuff around our house. And as I'm getting older, I notice I use a hammer and it starts to make my wrist hurt. After a few nails, it's it doesn't feel like it did when I was 25. So Bill's solution was a very different approach to the way you hold the hammer in a way that, and you can hold it now in a way where you don't put that impact on your wrist, or you don't put all that flex on your wrist. So it's much more comfortable. It still hammers nails just as hard and just as deep as a regular hammer. But for people like you and me that aren't carpenters doing this every day, it's a much easier hammer to use, much more ergonomic, much friendlier to the body.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I noticed in particular is that for people who are getting older and maybe their grip isn't as strong or their fingers aren't as strong or they have arthritis. I mean, it gets us all eventually.
I'm guilty of all those, I think.
His hammer makes it so much easier to securely hold it. I mean, the last thing you want to do is swing a hammer and have it fly out of your hand, or you drop it on your foot, or you hit somebody else's finger with it because they're the ones holding the nail and not you. Mm-hmm. And Bill's hammer is really ergonomically correct in the fact that it makes it safer to use a hammer.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a fantastic idea.
And so we are looking forward to having Bill at ASD Market Week this year so that we can launch the hammer. And I don't mean across the room, but as a new product, and get it out there so that people can see it. But we're going to be doing some videos with him and his hammer. And like I said, I've got one in the closet, so that he sent me as a prototype. And I think the end, he told me not to really get out there and use it as a sample because the end is glued on. So really don't want that.
The prototype is just a prototype.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not the finished product like what he's got now.
So we want to be able to show everybody this really cool hammer. And gentlemen, if you want to get your wife a really cool Christmas gift, this is it. Because you know what? I don't want a new tool really for Christmas, but I cannot tell you how often when I get the new tool from my husband, he's not telling me, go and do this job. He is telling me, here is a safer, better, easier way for you to do a job that I know you're going to do anyway. So we want everyone to be able to find Bill's hammer. We will put the website up for you and be able to, get those Christmas gifts going early. It was years ago, my family would say, she just gives us, inventor products for Christmas. And then my son-in-law started going, what's she giving us this year, man? We want to see those new gifts. And sometimes they were things that, they would buy and take to work with them and have around the house. So everybody's got cool new gadgets that they have found through the Inventor Lady and Invent America. So America out there, we count on you to be able to go and find these really cool products. And My Modern Hammer is one of them that you will enjoy having and using. And again, gentlemen, every one of you should be buying one of these to put into your wife's Christmas stocking because she will enjoy it. And so will you when you go to borrow that pink hammer that's stuck in the kitchen drawer. Noah, what do you need from an inventor to help them get their product through the steps?
The first thing is I need to understand what they're trying to accomplish, because if someone just calls me up and says, hey, I want to make a hammer, well, there's a million ways to make a hammer. You can do all sorts of hammers. So Bill was very good at communicating that, I want to do this ergonomic hammer and, all the stuff it was supposed to do and all the stuff it wasn't supposed to do. So that's step one. Then we move beyond that. Okay, what are we hitting? What are we targeting price-wise? And that helps guide what materials we look at and what manufacturing processes we look at. Then we go through that design and development. We make some prototypes, make sure it captures the client's vision and goals. And then we're getting quotes from factories in many cases, making sure they're matching what the client needs in terms of their business plan. And really, it's pretty simple. It's really a dialogue between us and the inventor to keep everything transparent and out in the open, so there's no surprises for anybody.
Well, I think it's really important for inventors to realize they can work with someone like you virtually. Where it used to be, you had to be, down the street from somebody and drive over and talk to them.
I have clients. I have a client in Australia. I have clients all over the place. So yeah, you can do anything from anywhere these days, just about.
I know it's really amazing, and not every person who does what you do is right for every inventor. You've got skill sets, you've got particular materials that you work with or that you're an expert at. And there are other service providers that, do it differently. And so I always tell inventors, it's like you need to be able to talk to somebody and make sure that you mesh together.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. There's different design, development, engineering firms come in all different shapes and sizes. This is actually my second company. I used to run a much bigger company, and we did inventor work, but our main focus then was very large companies. So it was never really the right fit for inventors, and that's why I started this company to focus exclusively on inventor entrepreneurs and startups and really smaller clients. So kind of, when you're out there shopping for someone to help you, try to understand who their market is. Are you their target market, or are you just sort of that side project they're going to do? And that's one of the things to look out for, and shop around, make sure the pricing is consistent and what it should be.
Well, I noticed one of the things with Bill's product, and I see it more frequently nowadays, is that people are really looking for that ergonomic touch. What makes sense on the way something is held, what makes sense on the way it's used, so that it is more comfortable to us as the consumer than the old way of doing it. Let's face it, the hammer has been around for, a century, 2 centuries, since we crawled out of the cave and needed to hammer something together.
It's been around for a couple millennia.
Yeah. And so the whole idea now is something that's easier to hold, easier to use, and will be more effective. And so when you've got a product out there, America, and you want to make it better, hammers been around forever. Bill made a better one, and he's got a patent on it. So don't think it's too easy, too simple, not good enough. Sometimes the new change is exactly what America is looking for. So if you are out there and you've got a product that you are trying to develop, bring to market, get on the radio. All right. Check in with Rita Crompton at inventorlady.com or go to our site, invent-america.com for the radio show, and get in touch. Ask your questions. And we are going to be back in just a couple of minutes with our industry expert. Oh, yeah, who was just here with us, Noah McNeely. So, Noah, stick around. We are grateful to have you today. And thank you so much for presenting for Bill Holley, William Holley, his product. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America. We are being brought to you by Aztec Washer, revolutionary and innovative roofing product since 1968. They've been around for a while. Seal it right, seal it tight. AztecWasher.com. And our industry expert today is Noah McNeely from Product QuickStart. Noah is one of the sponsors of Invent America. Thank you, Noah. And he does manufacturing for a lot of our inventors. It was amazing how many of your products we had at ASD Market Week last year. And in fact, the inventor we just had on, Bill Holley, had used you, and he's just got now his first order in, and we will be promoting that and selling
That's fantastic. I knew they'd shipped. I didn't know he'd gotten them yet, so that's great.
Yep, he told me that. We were actually in a meeting together in Kentucky on Friday night. So it's amazing how, as inventors, we have got the ability to move around the country at the snap of a finger. And virtual technology always helps. So for our inventors, and I know that, every inventor goes around with the pricing issue. And a lot of times that first pricing, that first run, we call it a short run because a lot of times it's only maybe 500 units, 1,500 units, and they want to shoot for 5,000 units. Well, there's always a price point in there. So when we look at a product that is going to be, say, a $10 product, and we know that it's got to be hitting the multiple of 5. Rarely on that first run do you hit the multiple of 5 accurately. I tell inventors, hey, if you can break even, you are doing well on that first run. For a lot of them, it's not even breaking even, it's getting products out there. So from your point of view as the master for the manufacturing, what do you help inventors understand?
Well, first, let me clarify one thing. I don't manufacture. I actually coordinate manufacturing. So there are a lot of factories I work with, and there's no factory that's a fit for everything. If anyone tells you otherwise, they're lying to you, just trying to get your business. So I'm kind of factory agnostic, except that I want to help them find the right factory. So to your question, there's a couple of ways to look at pricing, and you really have to succeed on both in order to have a successful business. Now, I'm not talking about necessarily the first order, because you're right. A lot of times that's just an investment to test the market. If you break even, that's fantastic. You've done great. You've done well. But beyond that, for your broader business plan, you've got top-down pricing. In other words, you look at the marketplace, you look at who you're trying to sell this to and what it does and what problem it solves for them, and you say, okay, what's the value of that solution to that market? What would people be willing to pay? That's top-down. But then you've got bottom-up. All the stuff that goes into the product, all the materials, all the assembly, all the labor, all the shipping, et cetera, that's bottom-up pricing. So you come to a price there that's, the minimum it's going to cost is X, and the most I can charge for it from top down is Y. If Y is less than X, you got a problem. You got to have Y above X. Then you've got some, or at least they've got a match. Then you've got some space in there. And the more Y is above of X. In other words, the higher price people will pay for your solution, and the lower it costs you to make it, the better off. That's pretty obvious.
Right. And no, I tell inventors that it's like you've got from, the suggested retail price down, and then you've got the reality check from, this is what it's going to cost to get that first run done.
Sometimes I have inventors that have what I would call filet mignon taste and hamburger budgets, and they come in and tell me it's got to cost this, and by the way, it's got to be silver plated, and it's got to do all these things. It's like, well, everything you just described costs like 10 times what you just told me it's got to cost. So sometimes we have to find that balance of what's your product really about? What do people really want to pay for? And then let's find the right way to accomplish that at a budget that makes sense.
Exactly. And for some inventors, they've got a very cool idea. All right. However, the main issue then is, can it be made at a price the consumer is willing to pay? Mm-hmm. And there are times when the answer to that is no, not yet. And so that is why we'll see patents filed and the product doesn't come to market until decades later when technology finally catches up to it.
Sure. And I think sometimes inventors run into that problem and they don't back up a step and say, I think something I've talked to you about before is the most important part of an invention is the problem you're solving. So maybe if you've identified a really nice problem and you've got a $100 solution to a $5 problem, let's take a backup step and see if we can come up with a $5 solution that solves that problem too. And then you may be able to get to the market with that instead of your Maserati version of the idea.
Well, and that's exactly right. We look at a lot of times the issues of what's it going to be made out of. Well, when we're talking to somebody like you can say, all right, well, this is what you said. However, we can make your price points if we use this over here. And a lot of times the inventor doesn't know all the options to making something. And there are also times when we look at saying, all right, your patent is like this, but if we made it this way, we could hit your marks because it's going to be less expensive. And so we try to always make sure those patents are as broad as possible. So if the door is top to bottom, it doesn't matter if it's left to right. It doesn't change the patent. Right. It's just a door that opens and functions. Well, then you as the manufacturer can advise on the best way of being able to make it at a price the consumer is willing to pay.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, this is a complicated problem for inventors, is being able to hit those price points. Is it going to be manufactured here? Is it going to be manufactured in China? Is it going to be manufactured in Mexico? I had guys years ago that were doing a new toilet product. It was very cool. And they were having it made in China. And I go, did you think about doing it in Mexico? Because all the porcelain comes out of Mexico. And they go, oh, we kind of missed that one. So, instead of backing up, they just kept plowing through, and right. I don't think they ever made it to market, and that's unfortunate. So there's
no universal answer to that question, and the answer does change can change as your business evolves too. So China might be the right place for your first year or two, then it makes sense to go somewhere else, like the U.S. or Mexico.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Noah, for being on today. We'll do some video and get you out there so people can see you, and we'll get you on one of our IRT meetings. Everyone, thanks so much for being with us today for this segment of Invent America, where we were talking about how hard it is for inventors to struggle with that pricing. They want to hit the best price for you, the consumer, and sometimes that is a real challenge. So be with us next week when we actually talk about that tug of war between the manufacturing and the intellectual property.
Thank you.